Ladies and gentlemen, this is the third episode of the trifecta on this lovely Wednesday night, the September 19th, 2018 edition of NXT. First, we had 205 Live. Before that, we heard the live reactions of the King himself, Ricochet, and the Bruiserweight Pete Dunn. Put on a classic. Of course, I will get into more thoughts about that later. As we continue on with this night, we talked about 205 Live, so now let's talk about NXT. And we will talk about it on the night of... Does it exist anymore? Just kidding. Rusev Day does exist. Just Aiden English claims he is now the king of Rusev Day, or was the founder of it. It exists because of him, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, guys, yes, what is going on? Welcome to the third live stream of this evening. As always, this is the Club of the Band 1993. We're live once again for my live review of tonight's episode of NXT. We've already had my live reactions during the main event of NXT. We'll talk about that later. We had a 205 live review before, and now, of course, well, I said like 5 minutes, and it ended up being like 20 because I got talking with my mama about some things that we have going on coming up. But I'm here live to talk about tonight's episode of NXT. That, of course, took place tonight, September 19th, 2018, at Full Sail University. And overall, we got a great show, mainly because that main event. We had, a match to put over, a new talented Jackson Riker. And, of course, we also had a solid women's tag match, I thought, for the most part. And I definitely think we see some new faces in the women's division starting to, get a push here. Well, not really a push, but, get introduced as well. Part of the Mae Young Classic, and some I know they're going to be sticking around. I've heard for NXT, a couple others as well. But of course, the one that was in tonight's match, I really hope sticks around because I actually have always kind of had a little bit of a soft spot for her, and won't deny, kind of could be given an ice cream bar. And of course, there was Aaliyah in the match too, which I'm kind of glad to say that I think they're starting to take her a little bit more seriously also, and start giving her some wins and seeing where they can go with her, and not just keeping her as as a person to eat pins all the time. But anyways, we'll talk about that again as episode of NXT. So overall, not a bad episode. Of course, the great one to give it to tonight is mainly because of the main event. But we'll talk about that main event when we get there shortly and in a little bit. So let's get started here. We started off with the women's tag team match. Dakota Kai and Deonna Purrazzo taking on the team of Lacey Evans and Aaliyah. Now, first off, I got to say, I probably said this before. She was on a match recently, but even when she was on NXT before, just as like an extra or whatnot, like how Aaliyah was now, she's starting to get taken seriously since she turned heel. I do kind of hope Deonna Purrazzo is sticking around because I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for her. I mean, she's beautiful. She's talented. I mean, I've liked what she's done in Mae Young Classic so far this year. Of course, she was an alternate for last year's Mae Young Classic. But I think I've heard she has signed with NXT. So I guess she is sticking around, which I'd like to see happen because I do think she is talented. So I'm happy to definitely see her back. Of course, it's the baby face. And this match was not too bad. Again, I'm a fan of all these women. Well, again, it's just Lacey Evans is just, I don't know. I see something, but then I don't see something with her at the same time. Like, something to me is still off when it comes to Lacey Evans. The only match that she had that I really got behind was the second match she had with Kairi Sane. Like, I like that match. Other than that, I've just been like, all right. I mean, it looks like they're trying to do something with her. I mean, this is NXT after all. It's developmental. They're trying to, do something with everybody involved. But I'm just still not quite seeing it completely with Lacey Evans. Again, Aaliyah, I'm seeing her gain some more opportunities. I mean, she was part of a backstage interview for a Fallout interview afterwards. So, like, okay, again, and of course, Dakota Kai has been being treated more like a regular, and I'm hoping the same happens with Deonna Purrazzo as well. Again, it's like Purrazzo. I'm sorry, because again, I do think she's talented. She's beautiful. And she might need an ice cream bar, Robbie, if you're listening. But not a bad tag match, I'd say, between these, these newer faces, I'd say. Lacey Evans and Aaliyah will get the win with a combination, eventually leading to the women's right from Lacey Evans for the heels to get the victory. So I'm cool with that. Aaliyah got a win part of a tag team. So I'm cool with it. So we'll see where this goes between these four women as well. Let's get some new faces in a fresh match. All right. So we got that to start off the show. Afterwards, we get the Velveteen Dream getting interviewed, and he answers a question about carrying the momentum from his Brooklyn win over EC3 by saying the questioner should have watched him beat Johnny Gargano on the award-winning WWE Network, but he refuses to answer a question about who attacked Aleister Black because it's not about the Dream, and he walks away. We have the Street Profits leaving a basketball court. They're approached by a fan recording, and the Street Profits was just renewed for Street Talk was renewed for season 2. They wanted her to be asked to ask the question. Montez and Dawkins, they laugh off a question about who won on the court. Then Ford angrily answers why they lost to the Forgotten Sons when the Mighty stole their chains. He disagrees with the interviewer that they're just chains that represent their culture, their struggle against any obstacle, and prove to their mothers that they made it. They leave and get in Montez's sports car, but thanks to the women for another great episode of Street Talk or whatever heck it is. So I guess we'll have another match between the Street Profits and the Mighty soon. Don't know, maybe. We get highlights from last week's main event between Bianca Belair and Nikki Cross, who was interviewed afterwards, making it clear that their issues aren't over, and she's still going to, finish with the unfinished business with Nikki Cross because she is undefeated. So I'm pretty sure she will come across a victory over Nikki Cross, but this is a little mini, NXT feud on NXT TV. As I said, I do think we'll see Bianca Belair taking on Kairi Sane at TakeOver War Games too, as I do see Kairi Sane having a rematch with Shayna Baszler at Evolution. So we'll see where that goes there. We have Jackson Riker, the Forgotten Sons, making his NXT debut. Well, his first action we see from him, he took on a jobber named Humberto Carrillo, and he beat him with a springboard release powerbomb. So we had to put him over. We have Regal then interviewing Candice LeRae. She says she didn't see anything, but it sounds to her like something Tommaso Ciampa would do. Regal says they spoke to Ciampa and there's no evidence it was him. He has to ask, given her husband's state of mind, can she vouch for Johnny's whereabouts? She says they've been trying to keep their personal and professional lives separate these days, but after the GM announced the triple threat, Johnny told her to sit tight. Then he went to the locker room and they left together after he changed. Regal accepts this, but teases he might need to question her again later. So obviously, Johnny Gargano is still kind of a suspect here. I mean, here's the thing. If it was Ciampa, it would feel way too obvious. This needs to be a swerve in some ways. And, it still could have been Johnny, going after Aleister Black to get him out of the triple threat. He wanted Tommaso Ciampa to himself, maybe. I still don't know what it could be. And again, because I did read a rumor shortly around TakeOver Brooklyn 4. A rumor. Again, this is just a rumor, not a spoiler. A rumor of Johnny Gargano maybe turning heel and teaming up with Tommaso Ciampa so that way they can both go up to the main roster together and then kind of finish the rivalry up on there. I mean, it's something that would interest me. Although, I feel like even though Johnny Gargano has been a hot baby face, I feel like they have always planted some type of seeds for him to turn heel. But I don't know if that will happen or not or whatnot. But it definitely was interesting. So we'll have to see what happens. Maybe it was not Johnny. Maybe it was somebody else. But, of course, the investigation for Aleister Black will continue as we get into the next month of NXT. So we'll see what happens on the road to War Games, too, as things continue. We have Keith Lee in a hype video explaining what limitless means and inviting us to bask in his glory. We have a flashback also of EC3 accusing Lars Sullivan of attacking Aleister Black. Sullivan took him out, and then it said Lars will be in action next week, and we'll also get Otis Dozovic versus Tommaso Ciampa next week as well. And then we have it. We have Ricochet and Pete Dunne in a champion versus champion match. Title for title. North American champion versus the United Kingdom champion. Taking on each other one-on-one. Man, again, this match was great, but I really feel we need a rematch. because these guys were getting onto another level with this match. This match was so good. Again, two guys that obviously knew what to expect from each other. They have similar styles. They just worked very well together, using the arm grabs. Pete Dunn, doing as much damage to Ricochet's hands as possible, because that's going to help take away his momentum to do his flips and whatnot. To Ricochet doing his unreal tactics as well whatsoever. Some great back and forth action, and you literally did not know who was going to win this match. Of course, I mean, again, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know who was going to win. And but we had some great counters, some great near falls. Of course, Pete Dunne never got to hit the bitter end. He attempted it a few times. Ricochet countered out of it. I think Ricochet went for a 630, splashed one time, but it was just great back and forth action. But of course, the match did not end with a clean finish. It ended a no contest due to the interference from the Undisputed Era. Afterwards, the War Raiders come out to gun down the Undisputed Era. They retreat, but then War Raiders go after them. Afterwards, Dunn and Ricochet get their titles back. They just stare each other down. This isn't over, guys. This is not over. I would love to see a rematch. I think, these guys put on a great match, but where they were in the match, they were about to enter classic territory, I feel. And, of course, the Undisputed Era interrupted that. So, in my opinion, I do hope we get a rematch. And it's going to be great. It could happen at TakeOver War Games. I mean, I thought maybe this, when the Undisputed Era came out and then War Games, thought maybe they're starting to tease some type of a setup for the War Games match or TakeOver War Games 2. But obviously, it didn't seem like that was the case. But I just really think it needs to happen. War Games between all these guys. Have as long as it should be the Undisputed Era versus British Strong Style versus a team of Ricochet and War Raiders. Those are 9 competitors right there. And that would be awesome. That would be a freaking awesome War Games match, I feel, in my opinion. But as far as Ricochet and Pete Dunne goes, I think they got one more. I think we're getting one more match between them sometime down the line. It's got to happen. Again, these guys were having a great match, and they were just about to enter classic territory before the Undisputed Era interrupted. But, of course, if you want my live reactions for it, make sure to check out the live reactions video that I posted earlier on tonight. But, guys, that is it. That is my live review and the end of the trifecta for tonight's live reviews. Well, of course, we had the live reactions, the 205 live review, and my NXT live review as well. I'll give NXT an A- tonight for the great main event. The other stuff wasn't too bad either, but, of course, the main event was definitely the greatest thing on this show for sure. So, guys, what are your thoughts on NXT? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Again, please check out my 205 live review and my live reactions from tonight's main event as well. Be sure to click by like and subscribe more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirborne93. Besides any odds and ends, I will see you guys tomorrow night for my next top 10 special, and I'll tell you about it more tomorrow night. So until then, guys, I am checking out. So have a great rest of your night. Peace out, everybody.